She is an exceptionally brilliant criminal psychologist, and she possesses a memory that far surpasses that of ordinary people. She can instantly remember the floor number of a colleague she has met only once, but she is also a genuine oddball because she lost 10 entire years of her memories, so she often goes bungee jumping, something no one else dares to try, just to find the feeling of being alive. 10 years ago, Lisa was just an ordinary high school student. That night, she left school at 8 p.m. sharp as usual. Then she took the bus home. At 8:50 p.m., she arrived back at her own yard, but when she stepped inside, it was completely dark. Lisa tried flipping the light switch, but the light didn't respond at all. Just as she was about to call out for her uncle, something strange touched her feet. She picked it up and saw it was a puzzle piece with a bizarre image on it. But before she could think it through, another sensation hit her feet. Warm and sticky. Growing up in a family of cops, her instincts told her it was a pool of blood. Following the trail of blood, she found her uncle lying in a pool of it. The police quickly cordoned off the scene. The detective assigned to the case was a new recruit named Jack. For him, this wasn't just a murder case, it was the greatest challenge of his career. The forensic examiner initially determined the victim was killed with a single blow from a sharp object like an awl. Time of death was locked in around 9 p.m. There were no signs of forced entry at the scene, and the victim had no defensive wounds on his body. This meant the killer was someone the victim knew extremely well, someone he had absolutely no guard against. All suspicion immediately fell on Lisa, the only witness at the scene. During the interrogation, Lisa clearly recounted her entire routine from school to home, but the moment the questions touched on what happened after she walked through the door, her memory went completely blank, as if it had been erased. In the end, with no direct surveillance footage proving Lisa committed the act, Jack could only watch helplessly as Lisa was released. Back in that empty, hollow house, Lisa walked straight to the spot where her uncle had fallen. She lay down on the floor still carrying the smell of blood, and mimicked the exact position her uncle had died in. In that moment, she hallucinated herself holding an awl, stabbing her uncle, and then eerily turned her head to look toward something. And so she spent 10 endless years trapped in nightmares. 10 years later, Lisa became a criminal psychologist, and she even came to work at the very police station where her uncle once served. But in Jack's eyes, Lisa was still the #1 suspect. Jack believed Lisa joining the police force was nothing more than a way to monitor the progress of the investigation, or perhaps some kind of more sophisticated cover. But on the anniversary of her uncle's death, the station received a new report. The youngest son of a family of 4 had been killed at home. When Lisa arrived at the scene, she displayed astonishing insight. She wasn't fooled by the surface-level crying and screaming. Instead, she quickly picked up on the inconsistencies in the environment. The award on the wall showed the victim was far more accomplished than his older brother, and every single item in the older brother's room had a name tag on it. Psychologically, this is a sign of extreme inferiority and a desperate need to claim ownership. Most critically, when the older brother described what happened, he vaguely referred to the knife, a specific word, as something sharp instead. Changing the term mid-sentence without reason showed that subconsciously, he was trying to create psychological distance from the victim, and the vague description of the weapon was because he couldn't face the weapon he had used with his own hands. Sure enough, on the second retelling, the older brother's psychological defenses collapsed. He admitted that long-standing jealousy and feeling ignored had led him to accidentally kill his brother. As Lisa demonstrated her incredible talent for solving cases, Jack's suspicion only grew stronger. He felt Lisa understood crime too well enough to perfectly conceal her own. So Jack decided to re-examine the reasoning from 10 years ago, and personally retraced the exact route Lisa had taken that night. At 8 p.m., he set off from the school, simulating Lisa's commute. The bus did indeed take over 30 minutes, but he also took that unmonitored shortcut, and that path was hidden and deserted. It was practically the perfect channel for a crime. When Jack stood at Lisa's front door with a stopwatch in hand, he was even more certain the timeline matched up perfectly. Just as Jack felt the truth was within reach, Lisa received an anonymous package at home. The moment she opened it, her pupils contracted violently. Inside the package was a white puzzle piece. She rushed back to her room like a madwoman, and pulled out the puzzle piece she had found at the crime scene 10 years ago from that sealed evidence box. When the two pieces fit together perfectly, Lisa realized with chilling clarity that the demon from back then had returned. It turned out the demon had been watching her from the shadows all along, and this puzzle piece was not just a provocation, it was a death notice. The image showed a rope threaded through a woman's mouth, connected to another woman's ear. The rope was wrapped tightly around the other person's body, and on the right side of the image was a seemingly cheerful cotton candy cart. In the background, 3 innocent children were playing. This extreme contrast between the bloody and the pure was the killer's signature psychological mark. This was no simple prank. It was a murder forecast encoded in a puzzle. Her first instinct was to call Detective Jack, but the phone on the other end was just a busy signal. Frantic, Lisa drove while desperately redialing the number, heading toward wherever Jack might be. At 11:15 p.m. that night, Lisa's car pulled into a high-end apartment complex. This was Jack's mother's residence, and the place Jack came to visit every single week without fail. Lisa had originally planned to tell Jack about the puzzle there, but Jack hadn't come tonight because he was out working a case. And just as Lisa was about to leave, that eerie memory gap struck again. As a psychologist with a phenomenal memory, Lisa actually forgot where she had parked her car. She could only press the key fob and follow the horn, searching floor by floor. Finally, in a dimly lit corner, she spotted a red car with its lights on, but when she got closer, her intuition made her stop in her tracks. That bright red sports car looked incredibly out of place in the garage, and what sent a chill through her even more was the woman sitting inside. There were shocking tear tracks on her neck. The death foretold in the puzzle had already become reality.